What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the Fit 40 podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about my top 3 stress management techniques that I've used with clients over the years that have worked wonders for them. And I hope that they can do the same for you. So pay attention, break out that pen and paper, and let's get to it. So before we do that, though, make sure that you are following or you are subscribed wherever the heck you are watching or listening so you don't miss another episode going forward. All right. So now, before we jump into exactly what to do, let's talk about the why. Like, why does this even matter? Why do we need to manage our stress? Like, isn't it just a part of life? Isn't it normal? Well, yes, to a degree. Stress is totally normal, but how we handle it and how we respond to stressful situations can make or break our progress when it comes to fitness or physique goals. It can really affect our relationships at home and at work. And overall, stress is one of those things that we just really need to get a grip on so that we can live the way that we want to live without feeling like we're just out of control all the time and life is dealing us a bullshit hand. So how do we do that? All right. One, my favorite is breath work. And now, before everybody just clicks out and says, this is some woo-woo crap, okay, I'll be the first to tell you, I am one of those people who, when I first heard about breath work, I'm like, this is some BS. I don't buy it. Like, this is garbage. But after saying, you know what, I'll put my personal bias aside, I hear a lot of experts talking about this as a really, really helpful technique. Let me just test it out. So I tested it on myself. I tested it on clients throughout the years, whether when it comes to, for example, back in the day, we used to do a fat blast class where it was a very stereotypical high intensity interval style class where we would do high intensity, like strength training and cardio techniques. So people would be gassed by the end, their heart rate would be through the roof. And then to bring them down, we would go through breath work at the end. It would almost kind of look like a yoga class, a little bit like a restorative yoga class. And while we were doing this, we would either have hands on the belly or like gator style breathing where you lay on your belly, hands over the head and just breathe that way, or mix it up with stretching because that's also a really good one too. And if you're somebody who has mobility limitations and you want to address that, then this is a great way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So the breath work thing definitely pays off because I'm telling you right now, I saw people that walked into the gym super stressed, all in their head. You could just read their body language. They were not having a good day. And then they do the workout, they do the breath work at the end, and they walk out. Their shoulders go from their ears and then just dropped completely. They were much more clear as far as their mental state. Like in the beginning, when we first walked in, they didn't even want to talk. And then at the very end, they're chatting it up, or you could just tell in the way that they're talking that they're a lot more relaxed. And that's the best way to attack the day, especially if you are doing these workouts early on. So first and foremost, like when you go to exercise, it's a great time to work on breath work, not only at the end to wind yourself down, but also during your exercise. Exercise in itself, especially strength training, is a great practice to deal with stress because you have external stressors like the weight, like bands or whatever resistance that you're using, or if it's cardio, you have something pushing you to do things that you don't want to do. Your body has a stress response. Like when you exercise, your cortisol levels do go up. Your like multiple different hormones do elevate or drop to respond to this stress. And does that mean it's a bad thing? No, it just means that that's how your body's responding in the short term. And when you are experiencing all of this, it's a great time to say, you know what, even with all this stuff going on, even with my body responding that way, I can control my breathing. I might not be able to control everything else going on right at this moment, but I can control how I'm breathing. So when you are lifting a really heavy weight, breathe in as you go down, breathe out as you go up. And just understanding that, hey, this is the rhythm I'm getting into. Number 1, you're going to be stronger. Number 2, you're probably going to be safer because when you breathe correctly, you can brace harder and it protects things like your spine, your shoulders, your hips, things like that. And it has a lot of carryover. But when we're talking about stress management in particular, that's where we really get the practice of, okay, when I'm outside of the gym, we can treat it the same way where it's like job is going horribly or family stressors going on. You could be like, listen, I'm going to treat this like a set. I'm going to focus on my breathing just for a couple of seconds, just to reset myself and gain some control in this moment. And then I will proceed. Now, when it comes to the actual art of like breath work when it comes to counting your breaths and bringing yourself down, like when we do those post-workout breathing techniques, or you could even do this before bed, or you could do it in the car. Honestly, car is probably best because you could do it before and after work. So you can make sure that you bring yourself down a little bit when it comes to going into work, because a lot of times in the morning we're stressed out beyond belief. We had a crazy drive over, kids didn't want to get ready for school, you don't even have anything packed for yourself, and you're just operating on fight or flight at that moment. So taking 5 minutes before you go into the office, assuming that you have that 5 minutes to give and you're not running late, okay, get there just for 5 minutes, throw on some yoga tunes or whatever. Yoga meditation on Spotify, actually rock solid playlist for this. And try and control your breathing for however many seconds you saw this like breath work technique for. Because I'll tell you right now, when it comes to counting your inhale, exhale, holding your exhale, holding your inhale, you're going to find every number under the sun. 564, 297. Like there's a million different ones, and those aren't actual ones, but I'm going to tell you the two most common. I'm not going to lie. I just had a crazy allergy attack. The pollen in North Carolina is nuts right now. But anyway, with my eyes red and teary, okay, when it comes to the two big ones, when it comes to breath work that I love to work with people on, first is 515. This is really good for people that are not used to breath work right away, because you don't have to hold the inhale or the exhale as long. So you're able to focus on just the act of inhaling and the act of exhaling. And it's a little bit more natural. It's a little bit easier. It's like a step one. Plain and simple, it's breathe in for 5 seconds, make sure that inhale lasts a full 5 seconds, hold on for 1 Mississippi, and then let it go for 5 seconds, making sure that that exhale the whole time you're breathing out takes 5 seconds, and then you repeat. And then once you get really good at that, you could stick with it. Like if you feel really good on it, just keep doing that. But if you want to take it up a notch, another really good one is box breathing with 4 seconds for everything. So now it's 4 seconds inhale. Then when you hold that pause, you're going to hold that inhale for 4 seconds. Then you're going to breathe out for 4 seconds, and you're going to hold that exhale where you have no breath whatsoever for 4 seconds. All right. And that one is a little bit more advanced because a lot of people are not comfortable with holding their breath or holding that exhale where you have nothing left in your lungs, where you push it all out. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, but when you master it, it can be an absolute game changer, and you feel really, really good doing it once you get into that rhythm. But it's a practice. It takes time. It takes work. Just make sure that you start, number one, practice when you're exercising. Number two, when you are able to have that 5 minutes in the car or when you're winding down before bed, go 515, and then up that to 4-4-4-4 for the box breathing if you so choose. All right. And then what this allows us to do, like I said, it brings us like from up here. Anybody who's not watching on YouTube, my hands are up at my head. Okay. When we go from here down and we bring it down so that we are more relaxed, we're more clear headed, this is a perfect time for some journaling, because another one of these things where we're like, okay, journaling, I hear it all the time. I hear people talk about it. It's woo woo, it's BS. Like, again, I'm just going from experience. When you journal, it helps really put it all out there and be a lot more objective with what's going on. And I've seen this in clients all the time where they're like, I just feel like I got so much going on. I'm so overwhelmed. Blah. And they've got a million reasons to feel that way. But then they go, they journal it, and then all of a sudden it's staring them in the face. And it's like, oh, that's what's causing this. That's why I feel this way. And it's like, it's very hard to see all of this when you're in the storm, when you are up here, like I mentioned, when your emotions are heightened and you got a million things going on, you got a bunch of responsibilities. It's impossible to see through the storm what exactly is causing all this. But then when you put it down on paper, then you're like, oh, now it's like reading a book into my brain, which is terrifying as some of the, like that may sound for some of us. I know I was a little scared at first, but when you put it down, it's like you notice consistencies. And one of my favorite ways to journal is to brain dump, especially like right before bed. You can, for anybody who wants to do this before bed, all you do is set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes And do this after your breath work. If you want to double up, feel free. It's an awesome combo. And then you just write down anything that comes to your mind. It could be total gibberish for all we care. It doesn't even need to make sense. It just needs to get out of your head, because these are the things that stay in your head that keep you awake at night, that these lists that you're trying to remember, this stressful situation that you're trying to make sense of. All these things rolling around in your head need to get down on this paper, because it's a way to release it all. So put it down there. And then when you take a look, say, okay, I'm going to cross off every single thing I don't have total control over. So when it comes to the spheres of control, for example, there's three of them. There's what we have no control over, what we have some control over, and what we have total control over. What we don't have control over, those are things like politics, the weather, traffic, things like that. We have no way of influencing that in any way, shape, or form, and we have no control. All right, we just make the best of it. Then there's that middle sphere that is some control. These are the things that we do have some influence on, like our friends, our family, our coworkers, and how we converse with them and what they do after we converse with them. We have a little bit of influence there. But that total control, that sphere of total control where we have every inch of that covered, these are the things like how we respond to things, how we absorb stressful situations, and how we react going forward, our own behaviors. So anything that's not in that total control sphere, cross it out. All right, just let it go. It is gone. It is done. There's no point in harboring all these emotions and this stress because of this thing if you have zero control over it anyway. All right, so is this going to make it all of a sudden go away? No. But that act of crossing it off, it's kind of like throwing it into the fire, like when you break up with an ex and you burn pictures of them or whatever. It's same concept. There's that visual of crossing it off your list and being like, okay, not worth worrying about. I can't do anything about it. And then when you have those things within your control, ask yourself, what can I do to improve the situation? What needs to be done so this is no longer stressful? Or how can I react in a way that's going to be productive for me rather than being detrimental and getting in the way of my sleep, getting in the way of me being productive at work, getting in the way of me being the best parent that I can be because I'm too worried about thinking about all this other crap. All right. Have that conversation and start to work it out, and it'll point you in the right direction. And then that'll bring you to the number 3, my favorite one, which kind of comes at the end of both of these, which is having hard conversations. Because a lot of times stress is built up due to avoiding hard conversations. Now, is this the number one thing that causes everybody tons of stress? No, but it is a very big common one. And if you find yourself kind of nodding right now, like, yeah, I probably am one of those people that's avoiding a tough conversation. Congrats. You're human. It's totally normal. We don't like confrontation. It's totally normal. But there's a saying, the secret lies in the work that you are avoiding. And that is mostly for business, but it also plays a big role in what we're talking about right now. Maybe the secret to you feeling a lot less stress is finally just having that conversation with that person that you have been putting it off. This could be a spouse. Maybe you need to communicate with them. I know I had a client back in the day that was really having trouble staying consistent with their plan. And when we talked it out, when we figured it all out, it turns out that she was also seeing a therapist at the time, and they were talking about having communication with her husband about, hey, I am eating these extra foods because I'm avoiding intimacy. I'm avoiding having cuddle time with you. I'm avoiding doing this because of trauma in the past. And that is a conversation that opened so many doors and allowed her to have a much better relationship, number 1, with her husband, but number 2, with food and with herself. So again, it doesn't fix everything right away, but it starts the wheels moving in the right direction rather than staying stuck. Another thing could be your boss or a coworker. Stuff at work, all the time we try to analyze these situations and think, oh, these people are being jerks, these people are doing this, and most of the time they don't even realize they're being jerks or doing things to annoy you. And number 2 is, as soon as you voice it to them, most of the time they don't want to be jerks. They don't want to make your life harder. And if they're decent people, then maybe they'll adjust their behavior or adjust something to make your life a little bit easier, or to just not cause this problem that's been recurring over and over and over again. But you'll never know unless you actually talk to them. All right. And let's say worst case scenario, they are a total dickhead. They are a total jerk. At least now you know. There's no assumption. There's not, well, I don't know how they're going to take this. It's like, hey, we had the conversation. I did all I can do. What's next? And maybe that's finding another job. Maybe that's finding a different role in that company. Maybe that's talking to HR. Who knows? But at least you're moving somewhere in the direction that gets you closer and closer to that end goal of less stress. All right. And it might be more stress in the short term, but as long as we're taking steps forward, it should help. And then last but not least is friends and family. Like when it comes to the friends or family members that are just constant stressors, the people that always just trauma dump on you, the people that make your day a whole lot more stressful just because of their presence or the topics they always bring up, creating some boundaries with them or just vocalizing like, hey, I love you, but when we talk about this or when you bring this up, I'm not going to lie, it drains me a little bit. And I love you and I don't want to have a negative relationship with you. I just want to let you know because it's really affecting me. And just saying that could put them in a position where it's like, oh, now they have the awareness to know, hey, I did not know that bringing this up all the time or telling them all these things would result in this. But now that I know, I can adjust. And some people will just be people. They're going to keep doing it over and over again. And those people, you got to decide, is this a relationship worth nurturing because it's like going to help and it's going to fulfill you in life? Or is this a relationship that we need to take a little bit of a step back, create a little bit of space, and maybe they're an occasional friend, not an all the time friend, or maybe they're an occasional phone call and not an everyday phone call, something like that. Because at the end of the day, you got to figure out a way to create this life that allows you to do what you want to do and allows you to enjoy it overall rather than feel like a total victim to your stress 24/7, 365. And if you want some good book recommendations when it comes to having these tough conversations, two of my absolute favorites are number one, Crucial Conversations by Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. It was like I guess all four of them just kind of like threw it all together. It's an incredible book. And the next one is actually a recent one. And I'm about halfway through and I'm just loving every part of it because it allows you to have conversations without making it so personal and just getting to the actual root of what the goal of the conversation is. And that is The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher. You might have seen him on Instagram or TikTok. He's that lawyer that teaches people how to conversate in a more productive way. And those two are incredible resources that can honestly make a gigantic change in your life. So that is that for today. I hope that you found this helpful. I know we're in a very stressful time right now. I got family members, I got people that are Kickstarters and clients that are right now stressed out beyond belief because of government stuff going on, because of life stuff going on. And it's just that time right now where I think lessons like this can be extremely valuable. So if you have somebody in your life that you think could benefit from hearing all this, go ahead and send it their way. And I am just going to say thank you in advance so much because I do want to get this information to the right people and help them as much as I can. All right. And as a thank you to you, remember, I've got free stuff for you. If you join the Fit 40 family, the free Facebook group, you get free recipes, you get free workouts just for joining. And if you want to take it to that next level, you can apply for the Fit 40 Kickstart, where you get the full Fit 40 coaching experience for 21 days. And it is a blast. Not going to lie, I'm having a great time with the 10 people from this month. Can't wait till next month. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So go apply if you're interested. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for tuning in all the way through. I'll see you next time. But until then, go kick some ass. Later.